goes up must come down. Spinning wheel, got to go round. Talking about your troubles, it's a crying sin. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel spin. Got no money and you got no home. Spinning wheel, all alone. Talking about your troubles and you never learn. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel turn. Did you find a directing sign on the straight and narrow highway? Would you mind a reflecting sign? Just let it shine within your mind and show you the colors that are real. Someone's waiting just for you. Spinning wheel, spinning true. Drop all your troubles by the riverside. Catch your painted pony, let the spinning wheel fly. Let it fly. Troubles by the riverside. Catch a painted pony, let the spinning wheel fly. Thank you. It's been about 10 years between Billie Holiday songs for us, and oh yeah, one of the finest composers of songs in this country's history, and to find the right arranger and the right song and the right performance is very difficult. I think we've come up with it with this one. It's one of the more beautiful of Billie Holiday's compositions. It's called Don't Explain.
Looking out a dirty old window, down below the cars in the city go rushing by. I sit here alone and I wonder why. Friday night and everyone's home. I can feel the heat, but it's soothing heading down.
talking. If you can't hitch a ride, you better start walking. It's time. I said it's time. Oh, get on the ball. Get on the right track. No time to lose. No looking back. It's time. Oh, I said it's time. 2, 3, 4. Lord, Lord, what you gonna do if that passes you by? You get left alone. You wonder why. Well, the time is now. No hesitating. You got the green light. Who are you in this time? I said it's time. Talk to me, boys. I like it. I like it. Hey, hey, hey. Lord, Lord, what you gonna do if that passes you by? You get left alone, you wonder why. I said the clock is ticking, there's no time for talking. If you can't hitch a ride, you better start walking. It's time. He knows it's time. It's time, man. Time has come, hope you're ready. Time to get moving, everybody rock steady. It's time. Oh, it's time. Get on the ball, get on the right track. No time to lose, no looking back. It's time. I said, yeah, it's time. Yeah, now, what you gonna do if that passes you by? You get left alone, you wonder why. The time has come, I hope you're ready. Time to get moving, everybody rock steady. It's time. Groovy time. I mean it's time. It's time. I said it's time. I mean it's time. Whip it. Yeah.
Right, it is time for the Michael J. Steele Percentage Show, coming at you live from downtown Fargo, North Dakota. Welcome to the program, everybody. We got Super Bowl winners tonight. It looks like the Rams beat the Bengals tonight. So, what's really wild, 2 weeks ago, a good friend of mine, Ashton Kutcher, the Hollywood celebrity, sits there and sends me a text because we visit all the time, and we talk about sex trafficking, and he's a big, pretty good guy. He goes after sex traffickers, and he worked on that and testified before Congress. And we've been talking about going after sex traffickers when I become a United States Senator of North Dakota. And he's endorsing my campaign because I told him I'll help him do that when I get elected. And Austin sent me, I think 2 weeks ago, he said, Rams by 3. And he just sent me a text here 5 minutes before I did the show. And he goes, I told you. And it's like, wow, so Austin, man, I don't know how he knew, but if I wish I'd have known, but I don't gamble, but I could have gambled. And Vegas made a lot of money, man, but he's right on. He had him by 3, and sure enough, Ashton Kutcher was right. He was the guy that was married to Demi Moore for a while there. And he was that star on that 70s show. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. We made friends here a few years back, and we keep in touch. And I don't know, he's been kind of talking to me lately. I think because he knows the campaign's getting closer, he's been connecting a little more. So, yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's does a lot for people. He cares. Especially he goes after them sex traffickers. So, sex traffickers, beware. Austin Kutcher's going to get you. All right. This show is being sponsored by Bernadette Hoven from Bismarck, North Dakota, $500 donor here last Monday. Thank you, Bernadette, once again. and that helps the campaign. And also our donor from September 26th, Cynthia Warnham Tilson out of Ohio, donated $500. I'm a federal candidate for United States Senate representing North Dakota, so I can take donations from anywhere in the United States. So if you want to send me $20 or 50 or 100 or up to 5,600 bucks, that'd be great. I would appreciate it. It is critical that I get donations now because I need brochures. I got to pay staff. There's a lot of people that I got to pay for our commercials right now, television, radio ads, and that's where Hoven's going to do. My opponent, John Hoven's, got $3 million from special interest, big energy companies, big oil. They just hand him. It's big PAC money. I don't get the PAC money. Right now I get money from, it's called soft money, and that's money from individual donors, you know. And I hope I get some money from those that are listening. It is critical right now to keep this campaign going because I have to pay my help. If you go to Act Blue, and Act Blue is my #1 fundraising site, they've been really good for the campaign. And donate, you just type in my name in the search bar, Michael Steele. Go to Act Blue, type in Michael Steele. You'll find my name in there and donate $20, 50, 100, 50, 600, whatever you can send, you know, it'd be great, you know, but more the merrier right now. Dig deep because we need it for the next 8.5 months. And also you can go to my website, www.michaeljsteeleforsenate.com. There's a little icon on the front page there. It says donate. If you want to click that, it'll take you to my Act Blue page too there. So donations are critical. Campaigns aren't cheap, you know, because I'll tell you, I'll give you a little synopsis of what I've been spending money on out of my own pocket here for the last 40 years, every dime I get. And I'm going to tell you what we do here. I don't know. You're probably familiar with campaigns out there, those that are listening, and what things cost, but just a little bit of what we spend money on, I'll tell you right now. And it's, you know, I make T-shirts, banners, hats. I buy them from these companies, and they charge me an arm and a leg. But the last guy, I got some nice T-shirts made locally because I do support small businesses. A guy owns a T-shirt shop, and he makes T-shirts locally, and I got some really nice T-shirts from him at a pretty good price, better than I would pay from these big corporations. So we bought a lot of T-shirts. Those went really quick. Whenever I get T-shirts, people love them. They go fast, and I've had different designs and stuff like that for my T-shirts. And hoodies are good. I had some really nice hoodies. Those are a little more expensive, and those go quick. But I'm trying to get a hold of my T-shirt guy too again, but he's a hard one to get a hold of. He's so busy. But what we're going to do is we're going to get a hold of another guy. There's a kid right out of high school here in Fargo that came to my office one day and said, "Hey, you're running for Senate. I can make you some T-shirts for, you know, probably cost me, I think he said $12, which isn't too bad, you know, and I'll just turn around and buy them, and I'll turn around and probably, you know, you give them a donation or whatever, you get them at cost." So usually I wind up giving them away is what I wind up doing, you know, and that's kind of what I've been doing. A lot of them is just giving these out to people, and to a lot of people when I get them, I make these people want them. Everybody wants them. No, those are nice shirts. Oh man, you did a good job designing them. I want one, and I wind up just giving them away. And at fundraisers or different events too, we give a lot away. Once in a while, some sell, but they do take a big budget though. T-shirts, believe it or not. Hats are getting pretty expensive too, because they're to get a good hat nowadays. They want $25. I can't believe it. These companies that make them for candidates, you know, these professional companies, and that's just insane amount of money that they are charging for just like a baseball cap with your logo on it. And I got to find places where, like, locally, they can do them locally here in Fargo. a lot cheaper small businesses. That's why I'm going to this small business symposium, because small businesses can do them a lot cheaper than these big corporations, believe it or not. And they give you a better product, and they're local, and I can get the product right away. I don't have to wait for it to get shipped, because corporations have massive ad dollars, and when they manufacture something, we got to pay for the advertising, these corporate ads that they spend on this stuff, and that's why we pay so much money for this stuff. But anyway, it's literature, brochures, literature, staff. My headquarters cost money, phone lines. You gotta pay for a lot of things like that. There's our phone bankers, our mailings, dinners, door-to-door fundraising. Our socials we do. All this stuff costs money. I mean, none of this stuff is free. And that's why right now we need money. It's urgent that our campaign gets some money. And I'm going to tell you right now how important is one vote. This is something that I'm going to bring to your attention on the show tonight. And with the election, just a few months really away, about 8.5 months. I've done this over 4 years now. I've campaigned throughout our state of North Dakota, and I've done it just with everything I've got, and I feel great. I mean, the more I do it, the better I get at it, the better I feel, the more comfortable at public speaking. And, I can do a 6-year term, I know, in Washington, no problem, okay? And I'll fight for the American people, Main Street, not Wall Street. I'll fight with every fiber of my being, just as long as I know the American people are behind me, and I have to have you with me. And so if I got you with me, I feel great. And I know lately the people have been calling me up, thanking me. Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents alike are saying, hey, we like what you're saying. We don't like what these other parties are doing. This infighting, these guys are destroying politics. They're destroying the election cycle. They're destroying everything that we, America stands for. And you're not doing it. You're telling us the truth. Well, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's why I'm running, to tell the American people the truth and straighten out this mess we have right now in our country and get it cleared up. Some people say clean the swamp. I just say let's bring back America in the way it should be. Just put it back into order. Let's get some order here, and get things straightened up where people can look at our leaders and have respect for them again, and get rid of all this corruption that's going on, and all these lobbyists that are actually handing our legislatures money just to sign the legislation the lobbyists are writing. When I legislate, I want to write the legislation with my staff and my team and lawyers and read the legislation. I don't want a big corporation or special interest group and their lawyers to write it and hand it to me and give me like $100,000 or $1 million to sign the legislation. I'm not going to do that. That's why I don't get these big corporate dollars like John Hoeven and this Manchin, this Democrat. I'm a Democratic moderate right now, and I'm mad at people in my own party, and that's it's not good. But why I'm mad? Because they destroyed Joe Biden's Build Back Better program. 2 Democrats killed that bill, and that was Sinema in Arizona, who's getting more money from corporations right now and more money from Republican donors than any other Republican in the country. She's getting most of her money from Republican PAC money. When I did some research on this, she should become a Republican and get out of our party. Joe Manchin, he's just John Hoeven now is saying that he's going to be he could work across the aisle, unlike Rick Becker, this new GOP guy that just got in the race here in North Dakota, that's going to be running against him and me in the primary for United States Senate. He got in the race here about 5 days ago. And John Hoeven said he could work across the aisle with guys, and he mentioned Joe Manchin, this crooked guy in West Virginia, and that's just like Hoeven. These guys are getting rich off their crooked businesses and all that, and getting wealthy, and they don't want to. Manchin is the one that killed the deal for Biden and went against the whole party, the whole Democratic process, the whole party, for a plan that the 5 times the workers, the coal miners, went to Manchin And the head of the union said, hey, this is a good plan Biden's got. It's going to provide safety for the workers, better wages. It's going to clean up these dirty coal plants, these dirty ash mines. It's going to clean up the state. There's going to be a lot of money coming into West Virginia right now, over $1 billion. And guess what? Manchin said, no. Well, guess what? He's got the dirtiest coal and ash plants in the country there, and he's got it sewn up. He owns the delivery companies that come in. He owns the plant. He owns it from distribution all the way down to delivery. He owns it all, and he owns all the politicians that are there in West Virginia are part of his good old boy network, just like North Dakota, and they got control of everything. And that's what's going on right now, why he went against our president. And I think we got to get rid of Manchin, get him out of our party. He's got to go. He's not a Democrat. And that's why John Hoeven keeps quoting him. Well, Hoeven is my opponent, and they're both the same. They come from the same ilk. These guys they only care about money. They don't care about you or me or the people, you know. But anyway, I'm going to tell you how important this election is right now in North Dakota. With Election Day just a few months away, you know, it's going to go fast. 4.5 years went so quick for me. It's just zooming by, and I know this last 8 months is going to just fly by. So I got to do everything in my power, and I need your donations right now. Anybody listening, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, if you want to see change in North Dakota and in the country, because I'll be voting on things that don't only affect North Dakota, it'll affect the country. And with Election Day just a few days away, with every bone tired from campaigning or sick and tired of listening to the negative commentary, one must be reminded to go out and vote on the first Tuesday of November. That'll be November 8th, 2022. And there are numerous reasons or excuses for not going to the polls. No ride, no babysitter, have to work, not interested, just don't care. Do any of these things sound familiar to my listeners out there? Well, did you know that in 2000, one vote in the Electoral College gave George W. Bush the presidency? In 1962, the governors of Maine, Rhode Island, and North Dakota were all elected by a margin of one vote per precinct. In 1948, Texas Convention voted for Lyndon B. Johnson over ex-governor Coke Stevens in a contested senatorial election. Lyndon Johnson became U.S. Senator by a one-vote majority. In 1941, one vote saved Selective Services just weeks before Pearl Harbor was attacked. In 1923, get this, folks, one vote gave Adolf Hitler leadership of the Nazi Party. One vote. 1867, the Alaska Purchase was ratified by just one vote, paving the way for the eventual admission of America's largest state in 1958. One vote. In 1859, Oregon was admitted to the Union by a margin of one vote. 1850, California was admitted to the Union by a margin of one vote. In 1850, California was admitted to the Union by a margin of one vote. In 1876, one vote gave Rutherford B. Hayes the presidency of the United States. One vote, he became president. In 1875, one vote changed France from a monarchy to a republic. And in 1845, one vote brought Texas into the Union. One vote. In 1776, now this is something, folks, listen to this. In America, 1776 revolutionary times, one vote gave America the English language instead of German. We were deciding during the Revolutionary War, was our language in America going to be German or English? Did you know that? There's a lot of Prussians and a lot of Germans here, a lot of Hessians, and yeah, in 1649, one vote caused Charles of England to be executed. In 1645, one vote gave Oliver Cromwell control of England. These anecdotes are from Billy Bob Cox, who submitted them to to local newspapers, just to let people know how important it is to show up at these polls. And with my election with this guy that's in there now, Rick Becker, and with John Hoeven, this could come down to one vote with me getting elected. So I hope you know how close and critical this is. That's why I need your donations right now to spread your message out that, hey, we have to get this thing done, and we have to win it, but we have to be in it to win it. And I'm sorry, it takes money, and a lot of money, because we got to spread the message. We got a lot of people we got to reach here in my state, North Dakota, right now. And like I say, if you could go to michaeljsteelforsenate.com, click on the icon there, donate $20, $50, $100, up to $5,600 if you've never donated. Or if you can go to Act Blue, type in my name, Michael Steele. I'm running for Senate in North Dakota. If you could donate $20, $50, $100 there, that would be great, up to $5,600. And it's urgent that we do get campaign donations now because we have to have ad dollars. My staff is coming on right now. We got a lot of expenses that are picking up. And I got opportunity because a lot of people are wanting to come work for me now. Students, college kids are be getting out for the summer here. And I got a lot of, but I want to pay these people, and I don't want them to work for free. Staffers cannot work for free because they dedicate their lives to working for a campaign, and they got bills to pay and mouths to feed just like everybody else, and they need to earn a living. Okay, like we do every night on the show, it's our up-to-the-minute weather forecast here in North Dakota, right here in Fargo. Let's see here, we're going to do our up-to-minute. Okay. Currently, it's 12 degrees. It's 10:04 in North Dakota. Sunday, February 13, 2022. We got a southwest wind at 6 miles per hour. Humidity is 79%. Right now, it feels like it's about 2 degrees. So right now, we got a heat wave. We're above zero right now, but the sad part is on the highways, we got snow, and we got blowing snow right now with that 6 miles per hour, but guess what? The visibility right now is 0.97 1/100th of a mile. So there is no real good visibility right now. We got a winter weather advisory until 3 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow, and here in the Red River Valley, well, up and down the highways of North Dakota. So we have bad highway visibility. We have less than a mile of visibility. We usually got about 10 miles in North Dakota every night when I do the show, but tonight it's 0.97 1/100th of a mile. So it's bad out there, folks. We got just that 6 mile wind with that, these snow drifts are blowing around, and it's just creating a lot of blinding snow. So you probably want to be careful. Our dew point is 7 degrees tonight. And once again, the barometric pressure is 30.06 and steady. Okay, that was our first weather report of the night, and we'll just go ahead and we'll transition into some news right now. Once again, the Rams beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl today, 23-20. And like I said earlier, Austin Kusher, my man, I don't know how he does it. He picked the winners of that. And he picked it by 3. He's just amazing. Right now, we got a story, FBI offering a $10,000 reward in finding a serial bank robber nicknamed the Route 91 Bandit. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is asking for the public's help in locating a man nicknamed the Route 91 Bandit who say is responsible for 11 bank robberies in New England over the past 5 months. The robberies all took place at banks along U.S. Route 91, the north-south interstate highway that stretches from New Haven, Connecticut to U.S.-Canada border. The first robbery happened September 9th, 2021 at Arha Credit Union in West Springfield, Massachusetts. And the most recent was January 27th at Franklin First Federal Credit Union in Greenfield, Massachusetts. In between, the robber hit banks as far south as Liberty Bank in Avon, Connecticut, and as far north as the Savings Bank of Walpole, Keene, New Hampshire. Man, I want to take a little drink here. Hold on. Got a frog in my throat. The serial bank robber is described as a white man between 5'6" and 5'8" in height, with a medium build, blue eyes, and light-colored hair, typically wearing a hood or hat and white sneakers. The man has allegedly threatened to use a firearm, and he attempted to enter the bank vault during 6 of the robberies. The FBI said he may be driving a newer model Nissan sedan, according to investigators. One of the videos released by the FBI shows the suspect wearing a black sweatshirt reading Post University and the words "No Hall Like O Hall 2016-2017" on the back during the robbery on November 5th in Athol, Massachusetts. Athol. In the video, which has no sound, the suspect enters the bank at 3:18 and presents a piece of paper to a bank employee sitting in the office. The suspect then corrals 3 bank employees into the back room, the video shows, and then returns to an office, and the employees hand the suspect 2 wads of cash before he departs out the front door at 3:23. So he's in there about 5 minutes. He does this pretty quick. He's a fast operator. The agency is offering the $10,000 reward for the information to identify and arrest and convict the gentleman here. Well, he ain't a gentleman, he's a robber. In the interest of public safety, we're asking anyone with information about this individual to contact the FBI immediately. They said they need to stop this man's crime spree before someone does get hurt. Joseph R. Bonavolanta, special agent in charge of the FBI Boston Division, said he's considered armed and dangerous, so please take a close look at these images and reach out to us if you know who he is, so you can get online and look for this guy. Here's a full list of banks the man robbed. September 9, 2021, 1021 Arthur Credit Union, 63 Park Avenue, West Springfield, Mass. September 20th, 2021, 1150 American Eagle Credit Union, 201 Elm Street, Connecticut. October 4th, 2021, People's United Bank, 719 Canal Street, Brattleboro, Vermont. October 15, 2021, around 1045 Webster Bank, East Windsor, Connecticut. October 22nd, Webster Bank, Main Street, Somers, Connecticut. November 5th, 2021, Workers Credit Union, 107 Tower Road, Athol, Massachusetts. November 19th, 2021, Liberty Bank, Avon, Connecticut. November 20th, 2021, Savings Bank of Walpole, West Street, Keene, New Hampshire. December 16, 2021, Greenfield Cooperative Bank, Montague, New Hampshire. January 6, 2022, Keystone Bank, Prospect Hill Road, East Windsor, Connecticut. January 27th, 2022, Franklin First Federal Credit Union, Newton Street, Greenfield, Massachusetts. So this guy's he's robbing a lot of banks. He's got 11 banks, and he does it pretty consistently. So he's making a lot of money, this guy. I think he should probably quit while he's ahead, huh? He's got enough money, I bet, by now to live pretty good for a while. He probably raised a little more money than I did fundraising, so, so if you want to donate to me, that'd be great. I could sure use some donations. Maybe he's raising money for the Michael J. Steele Senate campaign, huh? Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, we're going to do our next story here. Let's see what's interesting here. I had some stories picked out. And landlords finding ways to evict after getting rental aid. Now, this really pisses me off. See, when I'm your next senator of North Dakota and I find out about this, I'm going to go after these guys, almost like Elizabeth Warren going after Delta Air after getting $18 billion. Delta Airlines was supposed to hire people, fix the planes, and get ready for, the pandemic to open up where we can get our travel normalized again, Well, what Delta did, they took the $18 billion and they gave it to the shareholders. The shareholders had a field day and got all this extra money, and a lot of them cashed out and took the $18 billion the government gave us. So now Elizabeth Warren and the government's going after her and saying, hey, we want our money back, and you're in trouble now. You just screwed the government out of $18 billion illegally and didn't use the money for what you're supposed to use it for. And now you got landlords across the country doing the same thing. I was upset about this earlier. I knew they were doing this, and now the government's going to go after them, it looks like here. But I'm trying to read the story, but now the hackers must have froze up my darn technology again. We'll have to wait a minute. But this is the Michael J. Steele for Senate show. I come on the air every night between 8 and 9 Central Standard Time, weather permitting. We got a blizzard here tonight. I'm in, I'll tell you what, North Dakota for 2 months in a row. We've had blizzard after blizzard this year. We've had snow. We've had sub-below Arctic weather here. It's just unbelievable. The heating bills, my neighbors are getting $600 heating bills in one-bedroom apartments. It's just insane here. And it's getting rougher and rougher. You think this would be over right now. Here we are at the end, almost Valentine's Day here. February, it starts getting warmer usually in North Dakota in March. It starts getting up to 40, 50 degrees here. But now, I mean, it come in like a lamb. It's going out like a lion. But we haven't had weather like this since probably the 70s. We had snow like this, But the farmers have been wanting this extra precipitation and this moisture because for 10 years, we had a lot of dry North Dakota, very dry soil here because we didn't have no snow. We hardly had any snow probably the last 10, 15 years here, and now this is good for the soil. We got to pay for it, the people, but I'll tell you what, this is going to be good for the farmers and good for the soil, and it's going to kind of take us out of a North Dakota drought we kind of had. But, everybody and their brother here irrigates here, so we take care of it. But a day before she was due to be evicted in November from her Atlanta home, Chanel King heard that she had been awarded $15,000 in a rental assistance. She could breathe again. But then the 43-year-old hairdresser got a letter last month from her landlord saying the company was canceling her lease in March, 7 months early, without any explanation. I'm really pissed off about this. I thought I would be comfortable again back in my home, said King, whose work dried up during the pandemic, and who now worries about finding another apartment she can't afford. Here I am back up against the wall with nowhere where to stay. I don't know what I'm going to do. Although the $46.5 billion emergency rental assistance program has paid out tens of billions of dollars to help avert eviction crises, some tenants like King who received help are finding themselves threatened with eviction again, sometimes days after getting federal help. Many are finding it nearly impossible to find another affordable place to live. It's a Band-Aid. It was never envisioned as anything more than a Band-Aid. Erwin Willowsby, director of the Clayton Housing Legal Resource Center in Atlanta, said of the program, it's not solving the underlying problem, which is lack of affordable housing. People are on the hook for rents they cannot afford to pay, she said. Simply finding something cheaper is not an option because there is not anything cheaper. People have to be housed somewhere. The National Housing Law Project, in a survey last fall of nearly 120 legal aid attorneys and civil rights advocates, found that 86% of respondents reported cases in which landlords either refused to take assistance or accepted the money and still moved to evict tenants. The survey also found a significant increase in cases of landlords lying in court to evict tenants and illegally locking them out. A number of issues could be described as issues relating to landlord fraud and a set of problems I would describe as loopholes within the program that make it less effective to accomplish the goal, said Natalie N. Maxwell, a senior attorney with the group. National Apartment Association President and CEO Bob Penninger said the survey was not based on facts, adding that its members are doing everything they can to keep tenants in their homes, including lobbying to get rental assistance out faster. Skewed surveys aren't reflective of the entire situation. By and large, the rental housing industry has gone to great lengths to support residents, including when it comes to rental assistance and adherence to laws and regulations, Penninger said in a statement. Legal aid attorneys interviewed across the country confirmed they are seeing a steady increase in cases where tenants were approved for rental help and still faced eviction. These include the mother of a newborn and 2 other children in Florida who received rental assistance but was ordered evicted after the landlord refused to take the money. Another Florida landlord lied in court that she hadn't received the money in a bid to push through an eviction. There have also been cases in Georgia and Texas where landlords who received assistance moved to end leases early increased rents to unaffordable levels or found other reasons than non-payment to evict someone, lawyers have said. As it is right now, it doesn't seem to be working as intended, said Tori Tavormina, an eviction prevention specialist with Texas Housers. It feels much more like it's a program that is alleviating the pressure of the eviction crisis, but not solving the underlying problems. District Court Judge Sherrod Grant, who handles housing cases in Birmingham, Alabama, said she and her fellow judges have seen an uptick in cases of landlords getting assistance in returning to court a few weeks later after tenant has fallen behind on rent to seek an eviction. So far, they have prevented them, though she expects a spike in these kinds of cases going forward. It's an incumbent on the judges to make sure we are paying close attention to our eviction cases and making sure that landlord is not having their cake and eating it too, she said. By the same token, we are not forcing landlords to take the money. There are some unfortunate circumstances where the tenant has to be evicted. In the case of King, she believes her landlord was retaliating for earlier complaints about mold and water leaks in her 3-bedroom house. The company King was dealing with, NDI Maxim, which manages properties for owners, said was not at liberty to share details of tenant status nor their payment records. Other cases are complicated by length of the pandemic and conflicting accounts of landlord and tenant. They often leave both parties feeling shortchanged. Despite his landlord getting more than $20,000 in rental assistance, Prince Betty is facing imminent eviction from his 3-bedroom house in East Point, Georgia. After the money was approved, Betty signed an agreement in court last year to pay several $1,000s more than he owed as a condition to remain housed. He went back to the county for additional assistance to cover the balance, but he says he was denied. Unable to find warehouse work during the pandemic, 47-year-old Navy veteran still can't pay rent and is now $12,000 behind, in part due to his rent increasing from $1,250 a month to $2,000 a month. Betty, who was told he would be evicted this month, said he wakes most mornings in a panic, wondering if this will be the day when marshals come in and disrespect my stuff and throw it in the street or in the garbage. His landlord, Monique Jones, she said she tried to work with Betty, but she said he violated the lease by subletting rooms to several other people, and the amount of rental assistance has not covered losses from months of unpaid rent that started before the pandemic. It was helpful, but it did not address the underlying issues, which is non-payment of rent. She said of the rental assistance, it still remains, and that is rightfully why I'm proceeding. If I have a tenant who will pay rent and abides by the lease, I would not attempt to evict. Limits with rental assistance often come down to some states and localities failing to Treasury Department guidance calling for policies requiring landlords to delay evictions after getting money. Although the program prevents landlords from evicting during the period covered by rental assistance, the Treasury Department can only encourage states to adopt policies that ban evictions up to 3 months afterwards. The National Low-Income Housing Coalition found 29 states and localities in 2021 had adopted policies that prohibit landlords who participate in the rental assistance program from evicting tenants for a period ranging from 30 days to 12 months. 6 states, Arizona, Kentucky, Louisiana, New York, North Carolina, and West Virginia, passed regulations, while several cities or counties in Texas and Maryland did. Gene Sparling, who charged with overseeing implementation of President Joe Biden, his $1.9 trillion coronavirus package, said there was no data to suggest landlords evict tenants after getting assistance is a pervasive issue, but this was completely unacceptable. While it's not against the letter or act, it's against the spirit of it, he said. The coalition also said the program issues illustrate a larger problem. We are in the middle of severe affordable housing crisis with gapping holes in our social safety net. CEO Diana Yentl said we have a systemic power imbalance that favors landlords. Well, what have I been saying on this show for 8-9 months? At the expense of low-income tenants. Yes, I've been saying that. Emergency rental assistance and eviction moratoriums were a temporary patch to those holes. You know, North Dakota, housing, landlords, 3-day eviction they give you in Fargo or North Dakota now. 3 days. and they kick you out. Here, they're giving these people 30 days and up to a year eviction notice, so you can live. In some of these states, I know Missouri used to give you a year. I mean, you don't have to pay for a rent for a year. They could sit there live for free for a year and build up money to move. And then North Dakota gives you a 3-day eviction. You're out of here. That's their new deal here now. But that's a big, big Republican state, see? And I know this for a fact because I got people that I know that have gotten, I've read their 3-day eviction letters, and most of their stuff goes into freaking trash because they ain't got nowhere to put it. And but most of them that get them 3-day eviction letters, the landlords have a pretty good reason to kick them out because, like in this article, they're subletting. They got 10 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and they're giving these people rent money, and they're not paying the rent, you know. So, I mean, there's landlords have rights, too. There's people that are violating these federal housing programs because the government's, you know, when you have a contract with the federal government on federal SNAP programs or, you know, you got to pay by these rules or Section 8, when it says one person on the lease, that's the way it goes, and you have to pass background checks, drug tests. You know, you have to go through a vetting to even get on government housing, and then you move in there. And a lot of this government housing, the next thing you know, there's 10 people living in there, and then in these secure safety buildings that are supposed to be secure. Next thing you know, and a week, 2 weeks later, a month later, you got 10, 15 people living there. We don't know who these people are. They could be axe murderers, they could be pedophiles, child molesters. You know, and that happens quite a bit on housing. It's like you let one person in there, they got the front person, the good person with the good reputation that moves in with the good record, and then all of a sudden they move in their friends, family, or with the bad reputation, and then once they get caught, these people, they lose their housing, and the people that are coming in there are basically don't care because they're probably can't get no housing because they got criminal records and they don't pay their bills, but they're harming these people that are actually eligible for housing. So if you're on housing, don't let someone come and jeopardize your housing by staying with you and getting you kicked out because you know that you're violating your landlord-tenant agreement when you are in a 1-bedroom and it's just supposed to be you or maybe your child or your children by letting these felons in there or these criminals that are staying there taking advantage of you because they could get you kicked out of your housing, and it happens every day. So don't let them do it. And if they care about you and these people are not cowards and they're men, they will not stay with you and put you in your housing in jeopardy. They'll go out and get a job, or they'll try to go somewhere and live somewhere that someone isn't on housing, that isn't a poor person, you know, trying to survive with their children and work and get their kids off to school and try to live day to day, you know, and raise a family and not take advantage of a poor woman that's on federal assistance. And that happens, though, and I see it, and I know what's going on out there. I'm not a dummy. This isn't my first rodeo. Okay, Dr. Dick Brown, answer the phone, Michael. What, do you want to come on the show there, Dickie Brown? Dick Brown? Let me see here. We got a Dick Brown here that I'm doing a show here, Dick Brown. Usually I do the news, and then once we do the news there, Dick Brown, and then we come on and we do the shit. We have guests. But come on here, Dickie Brown. How you doing?
Yes. Hello, Michael.
How you doing?
Oh, I tell you what, fantastic. It's been a great night. I'm out here just having a wonderful night. How are you, sir?
I'm awesome. Good to hear from you, Dick Brown.
No. Listen, sir, my name is Dr. Dick Down, because I dick some down, baby.
All right, right on. All right. How you doing? Good to hear you on the show. Glad you're here.
Oh, I'm great. Now, it's actually, I'll tell you the truth, sir. This is Corey. Just see.
Oh, okay.
I called him before.
All right, Corey. Well, I like your voice.
You know, this is my alternate.
I
yeah,
like
thank
it.
you very
I like
much.
that.
You know, that's what I do, baby.
All right. I like it. That's good.
How's everything going, man? Well, what are we talking about here? Because I just wanted to jump in and fuck with you. But honestly, what are we speaking about?
We're talking. I was doing the news report, and
know.
I see you kept wanting to get on the show. So, hey, what the hell? This is the People's Podcast. Come on the show and talk and what's on your mind, man. That's what it's all about. This is Michael.
Well, a lot.
Sure.
You know? Well, there's a lot of things on my mind. Listen, I really feel like you have the drive and determination to succeed in what you're doing, sir. But you know, that's why I was saying, like, you know, if you need a campaign manager or something, what's up? What's going on? Let's get it done.
Where
You know what I
you
mean?
at?
Let's win this election.
Where you at?
Michael J. Steele. I'm in Jersey. I'm in Jersey, but we can do things. We can do things online.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
Well, I got
We
some
can work
staffers,
with
but
it.
I need more help. It's always good to have more help.
Well, listen.
Yeah,
You know what I
right
mean?
on.
I wouldn't mind lending a hand in any way I could, sir.
I
Just so you know.
appreciate it. I'll tell you what, my phone number, you want to write this down? 701-404-3044.
Give me one.
You got a pen,
Second.
I'll give you my number. Give me a call. Or
All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
701-404-3044.
Okay.
3044. And then you can reach me at Michael J. Steele for Senate at gmail.com.
Wait, so what were the last four? I'm sorry. 404.
404-3044. Here, I'm going to give you my campaign email too. Let me check here and see, make sure I got it up here. It's Michael J. Steele for Senate 2022 at gmail.com. Excuse me. And you can email me there too, or you can go to www.michaeljsteeleforsenate.com and it goes right to my email too. That might be easier. And just www.michaeljsteeleforsenate.com and it goes right in my email, and then you can get a hold of me that way too if it's easier, and we can visit. Yeah, it's always good to help. Heck yeah, more the merrier. So what's on your mind there, Dr. Dick Brown? Dick Down. Okay, I don't know where I was saying Dick Brown, but Dick Down. Yeah, how's it going? What's going on? You got a podcast?
It's fine. Just don't call me late for dinner, baby.
All right.
You can call me.
All right. Right on. Yeah, New Jersey. How's things going on in Jersey? How's the weather there? What's going on? How's the weather out there?
Our things in Jersey are all right, sir. Life is good. I can't complain personally. Things get crazy at times, it seems, but fuck it. I personally, I'm good. You know what I mean? But I worry for the country. I really do. But I'm fucking fantastic, personally.
Awesome. What are you worried about? What's on your mind?
I don't like the direction that things are heading. I feel like that I feel like the internet has created a level of controlled chaos, basically, that is going to overrun. Like, I feel like there's been something that has been created that fucking, like, I don't know. It's just like an energy that I feel that can't really be stopped, I think. You know what I mean? I feel like there's just something coming. I don't know what it is. I could be wrong, but I just feel like all of this shit's about to crumble, basically. Like, our current system, I feel like, will not be a thing within, I'd say, like, 3 to 5 years. That's just a personal feeling that I have. I just don't see it continuing the way that it has. I don't think there's a way to sustain it with the amount of spending that we've had, and just there's a lot of factors that go into it, but that's just a personal feeling that I have.
There are some good things. So according to all the reports, the economy's the best it's been since the Reagan years. They said 1984. The economy hasn't been this good since 1984. Unemployment is the lowest it's been in 70 years. I mean, but we got the pandemic, and inflation is killing us right now. I'll admit that. But all these other government actuaries are saying that the economy's booming. People are going back to work. Inflation's kicking everybody's ass. Okay, we got a problem with that.
Well, no, that's fine.
But I mean, there are some things. This Omicron variant now, they're saying it's losing its steam. We're getting herd immunity in like 18 different countries now. They're going to stop masking all over the world now. But America right now is getting hurt more than anybody. We got COVID, Omicron, and we got it worse than anybody.
People in control that don't love this country, brother. You know what I mean? The people who are in control of this country are people that have been, all right, look, the Communist Manifesto of 1956, okay? It was read into Congress. It's the goals of the Communist Party then that were read. If you read them, there's 50 stated things that are there. Read them and find out that they are literally the talking points of the left in this country. So it's a plan that was laid out to invade this country, from the inside out because they couldn't do it militarily. There's no way to fuck. You're not going to fuck with us. You know what I mean? So, but they laid out a plan and they followed it. But if you look at it, the left in this country, it's literally that's what it is. I'm sorry. Like we've been infiltrated.
Well, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to read something now. Here's a banner, okay? I mean, this is a true story. Here is the 1956 from the Republican National Committee. Here is their platform, okay? You ready for it? Listen. 1956
Sure.
RMC banner I have on my office wall right now in my headquarters. Number 1, provide federal assistance to low-income communities. Number 2, on their agenda, 1956 Republicans platform from the RNC. I got the poster in my office. Protect Social Security. Number 3, provide asylum for refugees. Number 4, extend minimum wage. Number 5, improve unemployment benefits system so it covers more people. Number 6, strengthen labor laws so workers can easily join a union. Number 7, assure equal pay for equal work regardless of sex. There you go. This is from the RNC. I got this poster I found. I'm an American picker, and I got this at a campaign headquarters. And what do you think of that? What do you think of that? That is the Republican platform from the RNC.
I don't know. I don't know what your, I don't know what the gripe is with what you just read, honestly. I personally didn't feel anything negative with what you just read. I don't know.
Good.
You know what I mean?
So you liked it. I like it. That's the same policy that the Democrats have today that the Republicans had in 56, and now the Democrats want that policy. And now you're saying that you didn't feel anything negative and you kind of liked it, right? I like it too. I like the Republicans' policy. And
look, there's I don't know. I'm just a guy. You know what I mean? I don't fucking know. I'm just saying that you know what I mean? I know for a fact, I've read that shit, the Communist Manifesto top to bottom, and literally if you look at it, there's not many points in it. There, each of they've succeeded in that. There's no way that you can argue it. It's literally the platform
do you think that Russia succeeded with communism then? Do you think that Russia succeeded with communism?
No, I think that the infiltration of this country I think that was successful. Yeah, I think it's not done yet. It's still in the process, but I feel like it's working. You know what I mean? If literally those people who put that into play, who wrote it, if they're still, obviously, whatever. If there's people still involved in that, yes, yes.
Well, Russia, Russia never had true communism. Never. Why they had oligarchs and they had czars and they had all these KGB people stealing all the money. Well, they had all this money. They had all this money that was stolen from the KGB and leaders. It was never a true communistical country. So you can never say communism failed in Russia, which a lot of people are saying communism failed. We've never had true communism anywhere, not even in China. The real true nature of communism.
It doesn't work.
Well, they've never had it. You've never really had true communism because you've always had leadership.
Well, right, that's fine. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah. And another thing, in China, right now, China is actually a form of democracy because all democracy is the government of and for the people. And if China didn't like the government they had right now, you got almost 1.6 billion people that could overthrow the government and say, hey, we want a new form of government, which China, the oldest country in the world, has done that many times. They've had every form of government they've experimented with, and now they've actually are trying to have a judicial system. Now they actually have a court system there and laws and everything like that. So what do you think of that?
Sure. Fuck China, first of all. Well, fuck China is my first thought, just so you know. I mean, they can all suck a bag of dicks. That's how I feel about that. I feel like giving them any play. They're literally building islands they're building islands militarily speaking. Like they're literally making them they're planning some fuck China. They can suck a whole bag of dicks, like I said. And I think that the current administration that's in is playing right into their hands. I think we're making ourselves weaker. I think it's fucking bullshit. Honestly, all of it is bullshit.
Well, one thing I don't like about China is right now they have the largest largest organ donor program in the world. They're actually they got prisoners right now, and they're getting organs, and they're selling them all over the market, and they're taking it from their prison population, and I don't like that, so.
They're literally, yeah, they're literally walking trainfuls of people into buildings and they never come out, right? Like, that place is, fuck China. They can.
Well, they got the worst human rights record in the world. They're in Africa right now. Their military's over there stealing gold, diamonds, everything they want for cell phones, because they're the biggest cell phone manufacturer on the planet. And they're going in there taking everything at gunpoint right now, diamonds, everything they need, right now out of Africa. They're just in there taking what they want by military force, and everybody's afraid to go after them because they have the largest standing army in the world, and they got a lot of our technology right now. These guys are traveling to the moon.
They have more people. They have more people in their army than we do in this country, I believe.
320 million Americans to 1.6 billion people. They outnumber us, and they got technology, and they're kicking ass is what they're doing, China, and they're all in shape. We're all got diabetes. We're all overweight. We're all unhealthy. We got the most expensive health care in the world, and we're ranked 38th in the world for quality health care. Now, what happened to us? We used to be number one in science. We used to be number one in math.
Yeah, it's by design.
We're down. We're like 17 in math now. We're going down the toilet right now. What's going on? We got to stand up.
It's by design. It's by design, Michael. I'm telling you. If you take a look at the. Look, it goes back to the Communist Manifesto. If you look at when that was read into Congress, okay, and then you look at the decline of American society as a whole in everything, literally since that point, it's fucking. It's incredible. Literally, everything has dropped off the mat. Like, there's no reason why. I don't know. It's insane. I just don't even understand the whole thing, like how this was even able to happen and where we're at currently. Because I don't know. I don't even know what to do, because it's a shame, because this literally is the most beautiful idea of a nation that there ever could be in my eyes, and it really is a shame to watch it crumble, because I really feel like it is.
Well, you got to vote them out.
I know.
You got the power to vote. We got a midterm election, and we got to vote.
It doesn't matter.
Well, you got it. Well, you're on my show. You got to start thinking of ways to change it. You can't just throw in the towel.
Sure.
And you gotta.
Sure. No,
and I'm gonna tell you something right now. There's a movement in this country been going on right now of people saying that your vote doesn't count, and elections don't count. I just did a 10-minute segue on my show here, a segment about how one vote has changed the world. Hitler got in as the leader of the Nazi Party by one vote. Did you know that? There's all kinds of things. I just went down and I did some research about how one vote can change the world. I just gave 30 bullet points how one vote can change the world, and it did. And our votes count. And here's what's going on here. Right now, they're trying to tell you your votes don't matter, your votes don't count. People don't want you to vote, so they'll go out and vote and get their people to vote and put their people in. And they're trying to make our election system look like it sucks, so you don't vote and you figure.
It does, though.
Well,
it does suck, Michael.
Well,
it's two-sided.
Well, then why have a government then? Why even vote then? There you go. See,
one second.
Well, tell me why it sucks. You're throwing out a lot of information, Dr. Dick Brown, but you got to give me 3 reasons why. You haven't given me the who, what, when, where, whys, and hows. Okay. Let's get into the brass tacks here, Dick Down. Let's get into the brass tacks here, my brother. Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Well, yeah, but I want the brass tacks.
All right, listen, the thing is, okay, brass tacks, great. All right, so this system that we currently have set up is it's set up to keep those people in power. It's fuck the people basically, and it's become that, and it's fine because there's only 2 options, and fuck that. There's so many different views and so many different people. Like the fact that you can't have. We need a 3rd option. We need a 4th option. We need a 5th option. There's no 2-party system. Is fucking bullshit.
Well, hey, I'm going to agree with you on that. We're on agreement. Our founding fathers said if we have a 2-party system in this country, we're no longer a republic. We're no longer American. We're doomed. I'll agree with you. I agree. Okay, keep going. Good. I'll agree with you.
I just don't think it's the current system is bullshit. The people need to come together. We need the convention of states, in my opinion. We need to bring it together. We need to fucking stop all this bullshit.
That's coming.
I hope
It's
so.
coming.
I pray to God it does. I pray to God it does, because it's the only option, literally, that will stop the chaos that's going on here.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think we're down to 9. We need 34 to do it, okay? We need 34 states. We're down 9 more states join. We're there. You need 34 out of 50, and it's going to happen. I think we're down to 9 from my latest research I've been checking, so it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's close. It's close. I hope so. I really do, because, and I really honestly think it's a sick thing that it doesn't even get any press whatsoever, the convention of states. People don't even know what it is. You know, normal people, like, if you're into it, you know, if you're into this kind of thing, sure, you know what it is. But for the most part, like, people don't even know that's an option. And I think that's disgusting that people don't even talk about it. Like, you're not going to hear a story about that on the mainstream media. You know what I mean? Like, everyday people aren't going to get access to that information unless, you know, and it's a shame, because it's the only thing that's going to stop this. I really, truly believe that.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, and hopefully, I think we're going to see it in our lifetime. We will see it in our lifetime. It will happen soon, because people want it. There's a lot of people that have been writing letters, you know, to Congress, and our legislatures want it, and it's going to happen. I might even really push for it when I get up there in the Senate. And I need your help to do it, you know, and then we can clean up the swamp. We can clean this garbage up, get rid of the corruption. And
that sounds like a mouth, man.
Pardon? I'm sorry?
I said we'll go and fuck the swamp right in the mouth, Michael, and we'll do it real good, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's going to be our campaign slogan, I think. We'll fuck the swamp right in the mouth. I think you'll win if you do that. You know what I mean? I think that's a perfect campaign slogan. But that's just my opinion.
Well, my cousin says, vote for Michael J. Stiller. He's going to bust your head open. That's because I used to get mad at people on the show. My first 100 shows, it was like the Sopranos and the Springers. We'd get so passionate on this show. We had a passionate one last night. Me and my cousin, another one, got into it last night. He's kind of a gangster, you know, and boy did we get into it.
Who's your cousin? What's his name on
Michael
here?
from Missouri, and he's kind of a gangster, and he's in Missouri, and boy, we got into it, but we used to get into like the Sopranos and the Sprinklers, but that was my cousin saying, vote for Michael J. Steele or he'll bust your head open. You know, it's kind of like yours.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. I'll beat your cousin's ass, though, just so you know. I'll fuck him up.
All right.
But anyway, that's besides the point.
Right.
You know.
Hey, you Jersey guys are all right. I got some people from Jersey that are my friends here, and Fargo, man, you guys are all right. You know, and the music you guys got up there, my God.
You know.
The music you guys got up there in New Jersey, the talent, I tell you what, my friends that are here.
I make music, Michael.
Do you?
I make music. I don't know if you know that.
What kind of?
Yes, my name's Just C. I mean, look, I don't like to paint myself into a corner, like artistically speaking, because it's just more of a feeling thing. Like when I get the feel, so I'll make any type of music. It don't really matter.
Are you like a musician, a DJ, or everything up, all that stuff?
I'm just musician. You know what I mean? I record. I mess around in my studio at home, and I
love it. I like music.
And check me out though. Just C. Okay. Just C on YouTube.
How do you spell that? JUSTCEE or SEE?
JUST. Yeah. CEE. Yes. Just C.
I'll check it out. Rock and roll, man. I'm glad you called in, man. That's awesome. I think all the great music out there in New Jersey. You know, all the music from all the legends over the years. You know, all my favorites come out of New Jersey. You know, everybody. Bon Jovi and all the greats, Dion and the Belmonts, or was he from Philly? I think he was from Jersey. I mean, there's a lot of greats from New Jersey. You know, wow, that's where everybody came from. So what else is on your mind? But you know, we got to figure out. You know, my plan is to get everybody to vote, but I got a plan. I'm taking Fargo from worst to first, or North Dakota, because we got our GDP output under the current administration here. We found out, we did some research, they were at 50% our GDP output North Dakota, and I got a plan where we're going to bring in a small business committee, and we're going to bring it from the Fed, and we're going to try to connect it to the state here and get a committee going where we can get the small businesses incorporated here and get them some money and get them some training and get them kicking butt here in North Dakota and get them some incentives to start small businesses, because corporations are what's kind of keeping everybody at an idle right now, and they're hurting people. That's where most people get mad at the corporations. As far as your rights get violated, you don't have. They tell you unlimited earning potential. It's not there. These people I know are getting capped. Their salaries get capped working for corporations. You work for a small business. You could grow with a small business, and as the small business grows, you grow. There's unlimited earning potential with a small business, and small businesses pay taxes. Big corporations get subsidies, which is welfare, corporate welfare they get. It's like I remember a lot of these Boeing and all your big corporations, the government gives them like $280 million a year free money just to do advertising. They give them. Now, if you take that $280 million a year that Boeing or your General Motors and all these companies get, give it to North Dakota, give it to me, I'll create $280 million. I could create 280 small businesses in North Dakota, give everybody $1 million startup money, and we could have some killer engine here in North Dakota and get our GDP smoking with that $280 million that they're giving them, and they're blowing it for advertising on television and radio ads and magazine ads. They spend this Boeing and all that. Well, I guess they create jobs in the magazine industry and television, all that, but I would rather see it in the small business sector here in my state, North Dakota, that $1 million, so you could use it right here. And it's not just a one-time shot, that you do a magazine or something, you put in there, or a television ad, it's a one-time shot or a few shots, it's over. These are going to be lifetime jobs. These are going to create jobs for more people. And one thing, you got more leisure time, you got time you could work, you could hire your family, and you get a lot of discounts, I know, small businesses, when you hire your family. You get government breaks, and there's a lot of perks about having a small business when you hire your family. So anyway, what do you think of that, Dick Down? Well, yeah, they're paid pretty good, Boeing, but I'm just talking about the $18 billion they receive, Pook. And right now, the lady that Trump called her Pocahontas, what's her name? Elizabeth Warren, and the government, they're going after them because they got $18 billion, Pook, to restart the airline industry again, and they were supposed to use that $18 billion to hire people, and they were supposed to use them to create jobs, and they were supposed to fix the planes after the pandemic here, after 2 years of standstill. And they took the $18 billion and they gave it to their shareholders, and the shareholders had a windfall profits, and now the government's going after them. I know Boeing's got a lot of money, but they get a lot of money. They get $280 million in ad dollars just given away. The government gives money away to these companies for free advert. The bigger the corporation, the more free ad dollars you get, and they just give it to them for nothing. And the government pays for it, which I think is bullshit, and they could be giving small businesses that money, or give this $280 million away to like North Dakota or to me as a senator to give it out for small business capital startup. Why give these companies that don't need the money more money? Like the oil companies get government subsidies that they don't need. There's so many subsidies that the government hands out, and that's all called pork barrel spending. And everybody's at the trough, but there's a lot of money. It's called waste. We don't need this duplicity and this waste that we have right now. And these corporations love it because it's free money for them. They get free advertising. The government pays for it. The government does it as a little thank you for creating so many jobs. We're going to give you this money because, a little pat on the back, a little of this for that, And then the government doesn't have to go out and find these people jobs. It keeps them, it keeps the crime rates down because they're working, and they don't have to go to job service. They don't get on unemployment. So the government rewards these corporations by giving them these corporate things. I know the other side of it too, okay? There are two sides of it. There is a corporate structure. I've studied both sides, but I think we could do a lot better with the small business side, because small businesses are the backbone of the country. That's what keeps the middle class going. And if you don't have a strong middle class, you don't have a military anymore, folks. It's all over. And then you become like Mexico, where you just have the super wealthy elite, and then you have very, very poor people, and I know a lot of people that have been to Mexico, and I know people that have been kidnapped. I know people that are wealthy over there that have to hire armed guards around their houses it's Mexico's got its share of corruption and problems, and we don't want that here in America, but we have it here too, but we don't want it to get that bad. And if you go to some of the tourist industry in Mexico, like Mazatlan or wherever, it's beautiful, okay? They take care of that, but I'm just saying, what's going on in these other developing countries. It's pretty rough. Pook said when COVID hit, they lost almost half value. Where did you see they distributed high dividends to us shareholders? Well, I've seen it by all the national newspapers, Pook, and by the article written about Elizabeth Warren here, and that was about a month ago. I read the article on my show here. I covered the whole story probably a month back, so you can listen to the reruns. I probably even quoted the sources. More than likely, I got it off the AP Wire. A lot of my stories here I get off my wire service I have for the show, and I have Reuters. I have 3 or 4 different services where I get my stories. So, and I am also a bona fide member of the Associated Press. I joined the AP when I was in college, and actually a very famous news person named Doug Hamilton is the one that actually gave me the Associated Press swear-in when I become a member of the press, and I took the oath, Associated Press oath, and I did the paperwork, filled it in, and I'm actually a Senate candidate and a member of the Associated Press, and I have an oath to uphold for my newsworthiness. I took the oath and news credibility, newsworthiness, so I'm pretty good. And I get a lot of people that call in here and try to destroy me in that. But when they look into it, most of my news stories are out there, and I don't just make this stuff up like some people. Like we get a guy, Jimmy the Weasel, calls in, and he makes this stuff up out of air. Nobody can find out where he's coming up with these pipe dreams and these stories. My stuff is pretty much credible. Unless, like Dan Rather got some news stories that weren't credible, and they got rid of him, but he was set up by Bush because he was very critical against the George Bush administration. The kid, George Bush Jr. there, he was critical against him. They set him up, and the network let him go because he was fired over some bad news stories, but he was set up, and I know he was. And they got rid of him, but it took him a long time to get rid of Dan Rather, but it didn't hurt him. He made his money, and he's still doing news stuff and everything. So, but let's see here. Yeah, Pook's got I believe it's mixed with inaccuracies due to my losses. Problem is we've been seeing negative EPS since pandemic hit. He said, okay. Let's see here. We got people writing in on the board. If you're not calling in on the program, we have a board on Podbeam. So if you join Podbeam, you could come in. Some people are hearing this show on Spotify, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon, TuneIn. They're hearing this on probably 400 different podcasts right now, or we'll hear the replay later on. When I do it. And Speaker, there's a new network called Speaker by iHost Radio. It's pretty good. It's all podcasting, and it's very good. I like it, and it's called Speaker. There's a bunch of them out there that I've actually spent some money on and got this thing really networked out there, so that they know who I am as a candidate for United States Senate. Oh, Shannon, are you calling in tonight, or are you still having throat issues, or are you feeling better, or how are you doing? I guess we got about 35 minutes left on the program tonight. If anybody wants to call in, I hope, did your guys' team win? I don't talk about football too much on here, except for the NDSU Bison, our 9-time state champions. They won 9 out of 11 Division I championships. They just won the big one here. They went to Frisco, Texas again, and they didn't even think these guys were good enough to do it. They have beat every team that's come in their way, and they should people are getting bored. We get tired in North Dakota at our Fargo Dome. We have a big dome when they play. We're getting tired of watching them slaughter the other teams. We got to get them in another division. And the problem is we need more people here in North Dakota. We need more fans, and we only have 800,000 in our state. It's hard to get a phenomenal football team like the Bison into a bigger area, like maybe, the Razorbacks or what is it, Nebraska Cornhuskers. They should be playing them guys and being at a level like that. But they're talking it's going to wait till our population goes up in North Dakota. If we can get our population up, more fans, more people in the stands, more money, then we can probably get in another division. And the Bison one day will probably evolve into a bigger division. And right now they're in the Missouri Valley Conference, they call it, which is better than Division II, which they were at for years. And everybody said, well, we don't know if they're good enough to go there, and blah, blah, blah. And they've really blew away all the naysayers and the cynics because the Bison right now got probably some of the better. I've heard they got better training facilities at NDSU than most pro teams do. I've heard from players, critics, other teams told me that over the years because some old guy will kick the bucket and leave the football team $90 million every 4 or 5 years, some old alumni guy. So they get $90 million donated to the training facility where they can hire the best trainers in the world, and that's like our pro team here at North Dakota and NDSU. We don't have a pro team. We actually adopted the Minnesota Vikings are our pro team, but you do have when the Vikings are losing, but you got a lot of people that like the Green Bay Packers here and the Chicago Bears, and you got people that like the California team, San Francisco, they like here, and they like that's about it right now in North Dakota. San Francisco 49ers they love here. They like their Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears fans, and then your Vikings, and them are usually the ones they go with. And you got a few Detroit Lion fans because we're close to Detroit. And you got your Cowboy fans here, I got to say. I know some people that are diehard. And, your Eagles. Eagles are popular. And your Seattle Seahawks are popular here for some reason. Them are kind of your top teams in Fargo, North Dakota right now. But we don't have a pro team yet in North Dakota, but our Bison are probably our pro team, but we did adopt the Vikings. So if anybody wants to call in, you can call in, and we'd like to hear from you. Shannon says Dallas is her team. Well, I know Dallas has got the biggest arena in the world. They built Jerry Jones built a huge, he claims that they could hold 1 million people for a Super Bowl there in Dallas. That is unbelievable. Jerry Jones, yeah, they could hold a huge 1 million people. Just think of that at a Super Bowl, the largest Super Bowl in the world when they hold it there. It's just unbelievable how big that stadium is. I just can't believe it. It's like Gillies, biggest bar in the world when they had Gillies there too, in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, I guess, And North Dakota, everything's smaller here, 800,000 people, but we're sure trying. But we grow more sunflowers here than anywhere in the world. We got the best soil for growing sunflowers for some reason. We grow more than Norway or any other country, any other state. Oh, you're from Texas? Okay, I know a lot of nice people from Texas, I wouldn't want to get in trouble in Texas, so with the law, man, they got chain gangs there. I've known people from North Dakota went down there, got in trouble, and they come back, I said, where you been? I was on a chain gang, man, in Texas for 10 years. I go, for what? A little petty theft and that, and they put me on a chain gang. It's like, whoa, everybody does time on a chain gang there, I guess, when you get in trouble. And if you don't do a chain gang, then they put you in solitary confinement and all that. That's one state. I'm gonna warn you, don't mess with Texas. Yeah, you don't mess up there. They take things seriously there. And I know a lot of people say you're free to do whatever you want. It's a very free state, open carry, you can carry guns, do all this, that, but you screw up there, you're in a world of trouble. And I know they've killed more people in Texas than anywhere else with the death penalty than anywhere in the world. Old Sparky took a lot of people out in Texas, so don't screw up in Texas, folks. I'll tell you what, because they're like their own country. They got one of the biggest constitutions in the world there, the Lone Star State, you know. It's huge, you know, and well, look at the founding of the country in the beginning. They had the Alamo there, and I mean, a lot of your Davy Crockett's, you know, a lot of your historical figures in that area come right out of Texas. There's just so much historical Spanish-American War there, you know, Pancho Villa and Santa Ana. I mean, just so much going on there. Just unbelievable that the history there and the food, the good food there. Right now, we got some news. Windsor, Ontario, from the AP Wire, police moved in to clear and arrest the remaining protesters near the busiest U.S.-Canadian border crossing today, ending a demonstration against COVID-19 restriction that has hurt the economy of both nations, even as they held back from a crackdown on larger protests in the capital, Ottawa. The protest in Ottawa has paralyzed downtown, infuriated residents who are fed up with police inaction and turned up pressure on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who presided at a cabinet meeting late today. The demonstrations have reverberated across Canada and beyond, with similar convoys in France, New Zealand, and the Netherlands, and now they're going to have one, I guess, in Denmark tonight. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security warned that truck convoys may be in the works in the United States soon, so be careful. You know, we might not be able to travel. We might be having some big convoys like Canada and the U.S. soon, so get ready for that. Windsor police said 30 people were arrested and 7 vehicles were towed just after dawn near the Ambassador Bridge that links their cities and numerous Canadian automotive plants with Detroit. Today, our national economic crisis at the Ambassador Bridge came to an end, said Mayor Drew Dilkins, who expressed hope the bridge would reopen later this evening. Crossings will open when it's safe to do so, and I defer to police and border agencies to make that determination. But the bridge remained closed as a snowstorm hit the area, and Windsor Police said Chief Pamela Mizuno didn't offer a timetable for its reopening. There are steps we need to take in order to reopen the roadways so that we don't encounter the same issues. She said at a news conference, we need to ensure we are able to maintain good traffic flow. Only a few protesters remained after police persuaded demonstrators to move pickup trucks and cars. They blocked a crossing that says about 25% of all trade between the two countries. U.S. President Biden's administration acknowledged peaceful resolution to the appreciated the peaceful resolution to the demonstration, and widespread damaging impacts and lives and safety didn't happen on both sides of the border. So he was happy that this didn't get out of hand. We stand ready to support our Canadian partners wherever useful in order to ensure restoration of normal free flow of commerce, you know, blah, blah, blah. So there we go. Partial closures at the bridge started on the 7th, and by midweek the disruption was so severe, automakers began shutting down and reducing production. The standoff came at the end when the industry is struggling to maintain production in the face of the pandemic and due shortages of computer chips and other supply chain disruptions. We are protesting the government taking away our rights, said Windsor resident Eunice Lucas Logan. We want the restrictions removed. We want to find out. 67-year-old has been supporting the protests for the past 4 days. She said she appreciated that police have been patient. On the other side of the country, a major truck boarding crossing between Surrey, British Columbia, and Blaine, Washington was closed today, a day after Canadian authorities said a vehicle had breached police barricades and a crowd entered the area by foot. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police said Sunday afternoon 4 people had been arrested for mischief during the protests. Some people who stayed overnight had packed up and left, but the border crossing and roads in the area remained closed there. A border blockade that began in Coutts, Alberta, north of Sweetgrass, Montana on January 29th remained in place as well. Police issued 50 traffic tickets Saturday and continued issuing them today, said Troy Savanoff. Officers intercepted disabled 3 excavators that were being brought to the protest. Had those made their way to the blockade, it would have only compounded the unfortunate situation we're facing at the border. while the protesters are decrying vaccine mandates for truckers and other COVID-19 restrictions. Many Canadian public health measures, such as mask rules and vaccine passports for getting into restaurants and theaters, are already falling away at the Omicron surge as the Omicron surge has leveled off there. 90% of truckers in Canada are already vaccinated, and truckers associations and big rig operators have denounced these protests. The U.S. has the same vaccination rule for truckers crossing the border, so it would make little difference if Trudeau lifted the restrictions anyway. Pandemic restrictions have been far stricter there than the U.S., but Canadians have largely supported them. The vast majority of Canadians are vaccinated, and the COVID-19 death rate is 1/3 of the United States. Meanwhile, Biden, in an interview with NBC's Lester Holt today ahead of the Super Bowl, struck a critical tone when asked about those likely to object to the mask mandate at the NFL game. I love how people talk about personal freedom, he said. If you're exercising personal freedom, but you put someone else's life in jeopardy, their health in jeopardy, I don't consider that being very good with freedom. So there you have it. Some of these people are free now. Some of the bridges are open. Trade will get going again. And some of these protests are still going on in parts of the world. And they're going to start in other parts of the country now, or parts of the world. They're starting in other places now. So, here's something that I found interesting for some of my people that call in. This is something 3 weeks ago. Brittany Murphy enrolled in Law 743, a unique class for the University of Mississippi. Despite the skepticism from fellow Republican friends and family, the second-year lawsuit wanted to take the class to see what it's all about. Honestly, she said she loves it. Murphy told news sources she feels very respected as a white Republican student in a class on critical race theory, the first of which to be taught in the state of Mississippi. Critical race theory has become a political and social lightning rod, with several states banning the concept in the last year. Educators insist that critical race theory is generally not included in grade school curriculum. The concept is usually taught in graduate level courses like the one Murphy enrolled in this semester. Yvette Butler, the professor of Law 743, said critical race theory was born from the Legal Academy in 1980s to analyze and understand why racial inequality still exists despite the aftermath of civil rights movement. It acknowledges that racism is both systemic and institutional in American society, and that white people have historically held power. Murphy said many Republicans believe critical race theory is inherently designed to make white people the enemy, but she said she is learning the opposite. She said the class opened her eyes to new perspectives from a theoretical lens. We basically study different theories, analyzing race and the law and how it applies to our country. She said, I thought the whole class would like criticizing white people, but we didn't really even mention white people. It's just another way of looking at the world, she said. Butler wants others to know her course is simply another class on theoretical framework. It does not mean to shame white people for the discrimination their ancestors may have inflicted on marginalized groups. The point isn't to focus on shame in the past. He said the point is to say, okay, all we want to do is reckon with how the law has been used to perpetuate inequality and how we can go about creating a fix about that. Law 743 is designed to give a full picture of what racial inequality looks like, specifically from a law perspective, Butler said, and have students think about these things critically. Her students learn about racial issues beyond just black and white. Butler emphasizes how important it is for her law students to have access to all aspects of thought from a variety of different viewpoints. Analyzing how the justice system has dealt with different marginalized groups is what her class intends to do, she said. In the class, Butler often applies critical race theory to current events, such as the racial reckoning in the summer of 2020. Those moments of racial injustice are the same events that Butler said further the backlash against critical race theory. Legislatures are fighting back. Last month, the Mississippi Senate passed a bill 2113, a legislative banning critical race theory in K-12 schools. After many black lawmakers walked out of the chamber, the bill passed 32-2 and is on his way to the House. Mississippi State Republican Chris McDaniel, co-author, authorized the bill, said critical race theory promotes victimhood instead of student success. Here in Mississippi, we were thinking about a way that our children, particularly K through 12, were taught not to be victims, but instead to be successful. We're trying to teach upward mobility and prosperity and empowering the individual, he said. McDaniel wants students to be taught they are capable of anything rather than be told racism does not allow them to achieve anything. The senator also said the bill is an act that fights against racial inequality. Senate Bill 2113 bans the teaching of superior and inferior races, gender, sex, or ethnic groups. He said he still encourages schools to teach about the history of racism and discrimination in the United States. However, we're not trying to move away from the past or move away from those sins, he said, but teaching that sins of our past scars are our entire future. I don't believe that. I think we're all capable of achieving anything despite our past, history, and other objective courses like mathematics are more important in the classroom in comparison to theoretical perspectives such as critical race theory, McDaniel said. Taxpayer dollars are limited. Hours of teaching prioritize what needs to be taught to our children, he told news sources. Professor Butler said CRT promotes a thorough education for students. In her argument, in Quake 12, it would be accurate representation of the world, cutting out key pieces of history from Reconstruction to the Civil Rights Movement or other places where people of color have been instrumental, she said. She hopes that critical race theory can be used as an opportunity to expand student knowledge and pursuit of higher education. For now, Butler continues to teach Law 743 with that hope in mind. Murphy said using what she has learned from the class will be crucial to opening a dialogue with other members of the Republican Party. Critical race theory has been polarized by both parties, thus perpetuating vastly different views on theories and implications. As a Republican student studying critical race theory, Murphy wants to address the implicit biases and misunderstandings of systemic racism expressed by her party. I'm still Republican. Like, I honestly feel more enthused about being a Republican, she said. I really do believe that there are some things that go beyond party lines. I think that I want to set an example to my party and be like, we can still be Republicans and think this class is okay. So there you go. She kind of likes the class. And, I want to learn everything. I was reading about critical race theory. I think it's interesting, and it talks about how racism starts and who started it and why it's been started. Let's see what Pook said. Why do you think Biden is laser focused on highlighting his quest to advocate black instead of Americans? I don't know, Pook. Come on the show and you tell me. I don't know what you're talking about there. I don't know. I don't get that. I could give you a theory myself. There are minorities, and the Constitution is protected to protect minority rights. Read your Constitution. It's all right there. It tells you, that everybody has a voice, just like on my show, and we don't just shut people down because they're a minority. Look what happened to the Jewish people in Nazi Germany. Do we want to start putting little yellow stars on them and all of a sudden start taking them to camps and getting rid of them? Come on. That's what happens when you start playing the race cards and all these different cards, and you start selecting different groups. They used to lynch black people in this country. I don't think we want to go back to that. That's horrible. This country doesn't have a really good track record and race relations. And Trump says, let's make America great again. America's always been great, but it's been lousy and horrible in many ways. When you go back to hanging and lynching people, and child labor laws. Look at America's child labor laws. We had 5-year-old kids that were working in coal mines in this freaking country in the beginning, and then they were doing that in the 20s and 30s. So this country did some pretty rotten stuff. We gave smallpox blankets to the Native Americans to kill them off. So we did some rotten shit, this country. So, and that's what we're trying to change that. We've evolved, and we went from beasts to men. You know, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change. You know, there's a difference between being a beast and a man. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to become like, in the Bible, you become an Adam. We go from being a beast to a man. And that's what a man does. Why my new granddaughter will never set a good in public school. Let's see. Foot not good. That's what Class 1 Pro wrote, you know. Let's see, but you have to look at the entire picture. Yeah, there's a lot of pictures there. We have to look at it all, right? Let's see here. Pook said, I don't appreciate Trump calling anyone names, but I believe Warren tends to move the arrow to others when heat is turned up on her. Seems like an acquired. Well, you know, there was things I didn't like about Warren, but I'll tell you when I did some fact checking about her, Pook, Elizabeth Warren she had the best fact checking record. When I went and this show for about a week, we did a fact checking series. Her record was better than anybody when we fact checked her statements and would come out of her mouth. I was surprised, and she's good. We fact checked everything she said, everything she did. Class 1 Probe said, I heard it once said, not every Democrat was a slave owner, but every slave owner was a Democrat. Well, yeah, probably. You know, you never know. Well, there was slave owners everywhere. It was legal back then. You had slave owners in north, south, east, west. They were all slave owners. You know. So it didn't necessarily have to be a Democrat. Well, you know, and back then they didn't even call them Democrats, you know. In the beginning, they had the Whigs and the Tories in this country when all this crap started, slavery. Whigs and Tories, you know, you didn't even call them that. They were called different names in the beginning of this country. There were different parties back then, you know, and slavery didn't end in this country till 1968 when LBJ ended the Jim Crow laws, the separate but equal clauses when we had segregation. They ended segregation, and that's when you ended slavery. You know, they had the separate but equal clause in the Constitution, and that's where they divided everybody and you had black restaurants, black movie theaters, black schools, black colleges, black churches. We were separate, but we were never equal, and it's proven that the white schools got like way more money than the black schools. The black schools got about 1/5 of the money that they were given to the white schools. The Republican leaders in government and the Democratic leaders that were running the country. And after the Civil War, the Ku Klux Klan senators wound up taking over the Congress. Most of as a piecemeal offering, when I studied history after the Civil War, we wind up hiring a bunch of the old Democratic generals from the South, and we wind up making them senators and congressmen. As a little piecemeal offering after the war, they wind up getting in power and taking over. And they were all Klansmen and all slave owners. And these are the guys that were writing our laws in the Senate and also in the House of Representatives. They were Klansmen, and they were part of our government. These were our senators and our Klansmen, senators, and all that. And they were the ones that decided who appropriated money to the states. And if you went to a black grade school, you got 1/5 of what a white school got. And if you went to a black college, you got 1/5 of what a white school got. If you were getting any government funding, you got about 1/5. The records were released, you know, and I've read them, seen them. They're out there. So there was racism. So we were separate, but we weren't equal, you know, and that's what they told everybody we were equal. And then 1968, Lyndon Baines Johnson come along and finished John F. Kennedy's work, you know, and eliminated the Jim Crow laws, which basically we were no longer separate, and we joined together, you know, where we could all attend church together, see a movie together. He ended the Jim Crow laws in 68. So I think that's great. And now we have the nice world we live in now. Let's see here. Grew up in Colonial Virginia, by the way, Poop said. I heard it once said not every Democrat was a slave owner. Okay, the phone lines are open. We got about 10 minutes to go if anybody wants to call in into the program. We could talk about what we're talking about. We're coming up with some interesting, good stuff. You guys are kind of right up my alley. This is stuff that I know. This is stuff that I like to talk about because I know this stuff. This is what interests me, about the Constitution, about history. This is just what my cup of tea. If anybody wants to call in and talk about this or ask me questions or share maybe some factoids they know about America, the founding of the country, maybe some interesting facts that we don't know about, and maybe some things that were misnomers, like George Washington, I share on the show, wasn't our first president. He was actually our 9th president of the country. I always thought he was our 3rd or 4th. He was actually our 9th president because we were the Confederated States of America, and everybody served as president for 1 year. And for 8 years, we were a country, and we had 8 different presidents that served 1-year terms. And our first president was President Hanson. George Washington was our 9th president when we become the United States, no longer Confederated States. And this happened after 1789, he became our president. We were, Hanson and all these guys they were actually in there from 1781, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 8 presidents in there, and they were actually secretaries of the Congress. But Hanson did a lot of stuff. He actually started our foreign intelligence office in there. He actually made Thanksgiving a national holiday. A lot of people don't know. He started a bunch of bureaus that are still there today. So he was our first president and started a bunch of bureaus in Washington, D.C. that are there today. And he was our first president when we were called the Confederated States of America, before we were the United States of America. So that's, a lot of people don't know that. Washington isn't our first president. He's not the father of our country. He was our 9th president. I thought he was our 3rd or 4th, I've been saying on the show, but I'm correcting myself right now on the show too. So that's some very interesting facts. And that we had a Swedish president. He was from Sweden. And I thought it was cool tonight that we could have been speaking German right now, because we had a lot of Germans in the country during the Revolutionary War, and they were deciding what language by one vote in this country. One vote decided that we speak English. We could have, if it went the other way, and the one vote, we could have been all speaking German right now in the United States. So that's how many Germans we had in the country in the founding. And right now, 75% of the United States right now has some German ancestry in them if they came from Europe. So we have a lot of Germans in this country still to this day. When you look at I'm a family history research consultant with the Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints. I've been doing that for 8 years now. And that's my calling, actually, with the church. I'm an ordained priest. I'm a high priest, a Melchizedek priest. And that's what I do too. I do family history, but 75% of the United States that came here from Europe have German ancestry in them, and that's the biggest majority group in the United States right now is of German descent. And that's why I found this fact today very, very interesting, that we could have been speaking German right now instead of English. And I believe that because of all the Germans that are still here from way back since the founding of the country. In Germany, a lot of Germans actually came over here, and I had relatives from Germany came here and fought with George Washington. Some of my ancestors actually fought with Washington, and I thought that was kind of cool. And they stayed here. He brought them over here, recruited them. Some of them got to stay. Yeah, it's people, Class 1 Pro. Class 1 Pro Board, just remember the Democrats were formed until mid-late 1830s, from what I remember. Yeah. Yeah, after you had the Whigs and Tories, everything transitioned and all that, then you had your Bull Moose parties, you had your different sects of everybody. Right now, what we have is you have your progressive Democrats, your moderates. You got infighting right now with the Democrats, and that's what's screwing up my party right now. They're not as unified as some of the Republicans are doing. And I've been chewing my party's ass out. If you're a Democrat and you're listening to the show, you better get it together. We can't have moderates fighting progressives and progressives fighting the liberals, and there's we got to unify this party to win elections. We could have got a lot done with Joe Biden, but there's too much infighting right now, and that's what's hurting the country. You guys got to stick together and get some legislation done. You had the world by the balls right now. You could have got a lot more stuff passed, but you got this Joe Manchin and this Sinema who are not Democrats. Manchin is a Republican. He's John Hoeven is quoting him now to beat this Becker. He's saying, "I work across the aisle. I work with Joe Manchin." He's working with Manchin from West Virginia. That's his hero now, the biggest crook in the world that stopped Biden's deal because he don't want to clean up his dirty coal plant in West Virginia. He's got the dirtiest coal and ash plant in the world. This ash that comes out of his plant is filthy. And he actually went into Senate and he said coal ash is not a hazardous material so that he could hire his own shipping company to ship the coal ash out of there, and not get fined for it. And he got his crooked shenanigans there, his crooked regime, to actually cook the books there in West Virginia and say, yeah, sure, we'll get this stuff. And so he's got money coming from the top down, or they get money, even federal funding, to get rid of the ash, his companies. He owns every company from the time they get it from the coal plant, all the way taking the waste coal out of there, all the way down from the ash, everything. There's money he's making. And I broke it down on here. I did the whole report here last week, how Manchin's making money, and that's why he's not going with Joe Biden, because he don't want to pay all these fines. And he doesn't want to pay. He doesn't want to have to fix his dirty plant up and pay a bunch of fines right now because he's corrupt. And he actually used his power in the Senate to change laws and everything in his favor to make money and get away with some EPA violations, which we exposed on the show, and very big EPA things, all corruption, all underhanded, deep South, West Virginia, undermined tactics, and see, we're losing a few people. I hope I ain't upsetting anybody. Maybe they got oil stocks. I don't know. But anyway, that's what's going on there in West Virginia. And I can tell you all about it, and the facts are there, and that's why he's not going with the Build Back Better plan, which is a good plan. Even the head of all the unions want it. They went to Manchin, they went to Biden, They said, well, I watched the interviews. They said it's a good plan. It's going to make things better for the coal workers here, cleaner, safer, better wages, all kinds of educational training, just all kinds of money coming into the state. And Manchin blocked it because it's going to put him in prison because it's going to expose his corruption and it's going to make him have to clean up all his stuff. Could put him out of business. His family's coal plant that's been in his family for years. They've been these slumlords. He's called the slumlord of the coal plants there. He's got the dirtiest coal plant in America, where most of them went shut down in the country. He's one of like 4 in the country right now that are even existing in the world. And Manchin, Joe Manchin, is one of the only ones. And this is who my crooked guy up here in North Dakota loves this guy and is saying what a great job he does working with Manchin, because John Hoeven's just as crooked and dirty with his dirty businesses, making $52 million. They're the same kind of ilk, these guys. So anyway, we got about a minute to go. I want to thank everybody for coming in the show. What a good audience. And if you can, go to www.michaeljsteeleforsenate.com. And it's urgent that you donate now. We need as much money as we can because we got a lot of expenses. I got people coming in. I got this guy in New Jersey now going to be getting a hold of me, wants to work for the campaign. I mean, things are coming to a head, people, and we don't want to waste this over 4 years of momentum, and we're doing great now. People are getting involved. It's just unbelievable. The phone calls I'm getting, the calls, the letters, the literature. People, we're getting some steam, and we got to keep this going. We'll take back the country. We'll take back North Dakota. We're going to clean up the swamp, clean up the mess, but I need you guys to do it. Tell all your friends and family in North Dakota and all the world to donate to Michael J. Steele at Act Blue, because I need it now. It all helps, and we do. It's urgent right now. And I'd like to thank you for listening to the show. And have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.